NTA International News.
President Buhari congratulates Nana Akufo-Addo on his victory at the polls. As Ooni of Ife celebrates 1-year coronation anniversary, President Buhari promises to continue to hold traditional institutions in high esteem. Rivers Rerun elections witness peaceful conduct of voters. And Nigerian Air Force establishes health facilities in Bauchi State. Good evening. Thanks for joining us on NTA International News. I am Musbad and Wahab with the news. We now begin with elections in Rivers State as collation and counting of votes in the Rivers State federal and state legislative elections are underway in some local government areas of the state. We now go to our Port Harcourt Center for details of this and more.
A very good evening and a warm welcome to Port Harcourt Network Center. My name is Cordelia Okwoma. Reports reaching us indicate that voting has ended in most of the polling units in some local government areas where elections were held, and collation of results have since commenced. Although there were some reported challenges in some polling units when the exercise started in the morning, but the conduct was described mostly as peaceful by a team of reporters. Now the final results are being awaited. What are the expectations from winners, losers, party leaders and supporters? These are just some of the issues we shall be examining in this discussion segment. Once again, gentlemen, welcome to Rivers Rerun Studios in Port Harcourt.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I have to my immediate left the resident electoral commissioner of INEC, Rivers State, Inyedi Ikoiwak. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
To my far left is Professor Andrew Efemini, a professor of philosophy, University of Port Harcourt. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
And to my left, I have Mr. Haya King, a human rights advocate.
Thank you very much for having me once more.
Thank you. So, Rek, I'll begin with you. You've been in the field all day. You've assessed the situation. You went around and you must have received reports from your officers. What is the situation right now?
Well, the situation right now is that collation is going on at different levels of the elections. Collation at the ward level, collation at the LGA levels. That is to say, collation results have started going to the LGA levels at the areas of the election have been completed at the ward level. And we believe that before the break of the day, we'll be able to really assess the turnout of results from the areas that we had elections.
What can you tell us about the security situation reports you've received so far?
Well, security-wise, when we talk about security, most of the time we look at it in the angle of the number of security men with uniforms and so on. I always believe that security should start with how we organize ourselves. Then, in a civil thing like elections, we should not be emphasizing on the number of policemen and number of other security agencies. But then, given it for these elections and taking into consideration the environment that we are, there was enough security in terms of security, the uniform men, the field.
If there were enough security men like you just indicated, how come we heard of cases of violence in some areas, snatching of ballot boxes and situations like that?
That is attitudinal. Our attitudes. It is, you see, election is not war. War is a situation where you have people coming and you are also prepared. What is in their mind? Their mind is to eliminate the other person. In an election, the security is trying to maintain the civil liberty of people. It is trying to give the access to people to exercise their franchise. So that also means that even when you are against the security, the level of force that the security may use may not be as strong as even that of the other person who is coming to disrupt the process. Because the aim of the security in a civil thing like election is not supposed to be to maim people or kill people. So, you know, when people say security, they were there, security snatched this thing. If the security were pursuing armed robbers and you snatch, what will they do? They gun it down. But you cannot, the man who snatched the ballot box, I don't think it would be wise to say it should be gunned down. So so when we talk about security and try to balance it, we have to balance it with the context of what are we doing, elections and so on. It is necessary for us to really advise ourselves, because the new trend in election, which is coming and which is going to affect our elections in future, is situation where the politicians now decide on how they want election to be conducted, the direction they want. They have forgotten that INEC have been saddled with the responsibility to conduct election. So you find somebody coming to you and said, in this election, if you say you are going to the rack, you are not going to the rack because we don't want you to go to the rack. And he has forgotten these rack were not just created like that. They were created to access polling units on time. And by stopping you, you have already derailed the process. That is exactly what it is. So when we started the distribution of materials from Thursday morning in an election that did not cover the whole state. We could not complete that distribution until yesterday night. So we must look at it. People will come and say, look, this material has come into this. It must not come out. It will take you a whole day to negotiate for the material to come out. So when you say security, are you supposed to eliminate all those people for the material to come out? Those are some of the challenges that we have in deployment. Somebody asked me today.
So for instance, now we heard of some alleged hijacking. How many of such reports do you have?
Yeah, we have gotten some reports on hijacking, but we cannot say this is the number because we are still assessing the situation. We are getting reports from the field, and our field men has not returned. When they return, we will now audit their reports and be able to come up with what we want.
I would like to find out about the general mood of people when compared with elections in the past. How would you assess and in what context would you put this on when you compare with the elections in the past?
Frankly speaking, I would say that with the feelers I got, with the feelers I got from a lot of people, this election is a little bit violent free. There are places where we actually thought there would be a lot of violence, you know. But again, I was just listening to one of the radios when I was coming, and the warlords or the major contenders in that area, they said they held a meeting 2 days ago, and that they agreed that there was not going to be any bloodshed. I had most of them talk, one of the Rerun area, and I was very, very happy with that kind of report. That I was, in the morning when I came here, I was expecting, there's no report from that area of Rivers State, and I commend them so much, and I appreciate them for that. And as I was coming, I said, wonderful. All of them came and said they had a meeting and they agreed that nobody was going to be killed, that nobody was, no fighting. I think that is what it should be. Just like my own area too, we usually don't have a problem. APC and PDP, they eat together, they sleep together, they do everything together. But the area of this hijacking and INEC conduct, the REC have just said that they don't have the situation, they don't have the full report. But again, I don't know when he's going to have the full report. Is it tomorrow after the results have been declared? Because there are strong reports of even somebody being kidnapped, ballot papers being taken, result sheets being taken. Because now, if I argue that I said, if result sheets are taken, result sheet is usually, I don't know, sir. Result sheet is not just one. Is it two? It's usually one. And if somebody takes one of the result sheet, and which one are they going to be used to write the result? Because we had of places where result sheets have been taken or result sheets were not available. And if results come from such place, how will those? I don't know, because we have a problem.
Please,
we really have
I'd like
a problem.
to know from your end the anxiety as expected in the morning and what it turned out to be. What do you think?
First of all, I want to say that I'm personally happy that the day has come and gone. We are not doing some kind of post-mortem of the elections. Listening to the rec here, I'm sure we have a lot of challenges and corrections to make towards future elections, especially around the political actors, because it takes the political parties, the political leaders to actually set the environment for free and credible elections. If this politics of anxiety, politics of winner takes all continues to confront our elections, I'm sure the task of INEC will always be difficult. Just to say that the reports we are getting, especially around Gukana area and all that, from the little information I gathered too, clearly indicates that we didn't get 100% violence-free elections. How INEC will handle all that, we are there to watch. But
right, I'm coming back to you. Now that the collation of results is on, and what are the expectations from the stakeholders? Talking of INEC now, the political parties, their agents, what are the expectations?
Well, I think I may not really say this is what they expect, but what I will advise is that we should use this one as a platform to build on a credible and a better elections in Rivers State. Like the contributors have said, a lot of people had expected the war to end in Rivers today. But we have also seen that to a large extent, that line of thinking did not actually happen. And when it comes to we have talked about situations where results were smashed and all that and so on. We had election in 1,840 polling units. And if you have a situation where results are smashed in some polling units, it does not necessarily stop the collation of results of other elections that have come out of the polling unit.
From the results we've gotten so far, it appears there was apathy. How would you describe the voter turnout quickly?
Well, I want to say that I think from taking into, because you have to situate it with the environment, taking into consideration the Rivers environment, the expectation of war, I think the turnout was impressive.
And your advice?
The advice is that the people, it shows that the electorate, the common electorates in Rivers State are really interested in exercising their franchise. Let us remove those impediments.
Correct.
That makes them stay out and so on. And you have a turnout that you will not, you will always have be a reference point.
Okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I've been speaking with the resident electoral commissioner here in the Rivers State and some stakeholders in the studio. I'd like to thank you so much, gentlemen, for honoring our invitation once again. And we'll now hand you back to Abuja for continuation. And you stay tuned here in Port Harcourt as we bring you the reports as compiled by a team of reporters who went to various parts of the state today. Thank you.
Harcourt Network Center, where we're still talking about elections brought away from the shores of Nigeria. Ghana's President John Mahama has congratulated the main opposition leader Nana Akufo-Addo over his victory in the presidential elections. The concession speech was read on Friday.
My belief in Ghana and its future, but notwithstanding the irregularities associated with this election, I have decided at this stage to congratulate the President-elect. With this understanding, I would like to assure the people of Ghana of my commitment to the sustenance of our country's democracy and will work to ensure a smooth and peaceful transition to the incoming administration. I remain committed to the unity and stability of our great nation. I'm profoundly grateful to the Almighty God and the people of Ghana for the high office of President. As President, I've done my bit and made a contribution to the political, social, and economic development of our country.
crowd of jubilant supporters gathered outside the house of a 72-year-old New Patriotic Party NPP leader who had already claimed victory on Thursday, a day after the voting took place.
Called me on the phone to congratulate me on my victory in the presidential election of 7th December 2016. He wished me the best of luck and God's blessing, and assured me of his full cooperation in organizing the transition from his administration to mine.
Akufo-Addo defeated President Mahama by 53.8% to 44.4%. John Mahama came to power in 2012 after beating Akufo-Addo. Akufo-Addo is making his third bid for the top job. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated the candidate of the New Patriotic Party, NPP, Nana Akufo-Addo, on his historic win of the December 7 Ghana presidential election. President Muhammadu Buhari also felicitated with the government and people of Ghana, the National Electoral Commission, and candidates of political parties for the decorum, maturity, and peaceful conduct of election that produced a winner from an opposition party who was contesting for the third time. In a statement by his special advisor on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, the president said, as a former foreign affairs minister, he believes Akufo-Addo is widely experienced and skilled in leadership to build on the legacies of President John Dramani Mahama. He has told the statesmanship and great leadership qualities of Mahama, who came into power at a trying period for the country with the passing away of former President John Atta Mills, and kept pushing for a better life for all Ghanaians and strengthening diplomatic relations with countries in the sub-region, especially Nigeria. President Buhari commended the incumbent president for the great courage to call his opponents and concede defeats, stressing that leaders must always honor their pre-election pledge to accept the result of polls as the will of a people. He said the future of African development rests on building strong political, democratic institutions, ensuring free, fair, and credible elections, and respect for the sanctity of ballot. Still on elections, Gambian President Yahya Jammeh has rejected the outcome of last week's election that he lost to opposition leader Adama Barrow only days after he conceded defeat to him in a public address. Oyeyemi Ajayi has details.
The Almighty Allah. Hello? Are you hearing me? I wish you all the best. The country will be in your hands in January, and you are assured of my guidance on your transition. I don't mean selecting who becomes member of government, but you have to work with me as I pack to go to Kanila, so that I hand over the State House to you. You are the elected president of the Gambia, and I wish you all the best. I have no ill will, and I wish you all.
Those were the initial words of President Yahya Jammeh of Gambia, conceding defeat to the opposition leader Adama Barrow. Barely a week after conceding defeat, he tends to be singing a different song by outrightly rejecting the election results due to what he claims to be irregularities from the country's electoral commission.
I want to make it very clear that in the same way that I accepted faithfully the results, believing that the IEC was independent and honest and reliable, I hereby reject the results in totality. Let me repeat, I will not accept the results based on what has happened.
Adama Barrow's victory gave Gambians reasons to heave a sigh of relief from Jammeh, who has ruled Gambia for 22 years. The United States has also condemned Jammeh's vote rejection, urging him to respect the voice of the people. In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
This is the news on NTA International, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. Stay tuned for more stories after this break.
Hear the call of change. Stand up, Nigeria. Change is here and it's going to stay. Change begins with you. Oh yeah, make we go. So let the change begin from within. Look at you, Ogerula. Change begins with you and me. Change begins with me. Change begins with me. Change begins with.
Thanks a lot for staying with us on NTA International News. The present administration will continue to hold traditional institutions in Nigeria in high recognition and accord them the respect it deserves. President Muhammadu Buhari said these are the first-year coronation anniversary of the Ooni of Ife, Oba Enito Adeyeye Ogunwusi Ojaja II. The president was represented by the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Kayode Fayemi, acknowledged the efforts of the royal father towards ensuring the unity of Yoruba land. He also commended his passion for youth empowerment and development.
To celebrate your life, to celebrate your time, and to celebrate your commitment to the development and glory of our ancestral land, Oodua land.
Other guests at the occasion congratulated Ooni and prayed for his reign on the throne of his forefathers to be peaceful and long.
To personally appreciate what you did to the youths that I saw here this afternoon by encouraging them, making them entrepreneurs, and also providing seed money for them to succeed. This is what is required in a recession, and you are doing the right thing.
You have started well. And there is no doubt that a lot of bridges you have built since you came in.
I heartily congratulate him and his Olori and the able chiefs assisting him for this giant step, especially for the peace he has brought amongst the Obas in Yoruba land.
We just continue to pray, Almighty God, to give you the strength and wisdom to carry this very, very enormous task, because our relationship between the north part of this country and southwest and even the south can only be tightened through this type of gathering, this type of occasion, this type of linking up.
The royal father used the occasion to present 1 million naira to some artisans. The Nigerian Air Force has established health facilities at 8 bases in Bauchi State to render services to the military at the combat fronts in the northeast as well as the host community. The hospital, which has been scheduled for the presidential inauguration this month, is equipped with modern medical facilities. Abbas Mekano has the details.
The Nigerian Air Force Base Bauchi is the headquarters of a Special Operations Command established in September this year to boost combat support operation and to provide special operations capabilities, particularly in the conflict areas of the northeastern states of the country. The hospital, which is scheduled for presidential commissioning on 13th of this month, was constructed in less than 1 year, is expected to render quality medical services to not only members of the armed forces of Nigeria, but civilians in the villages surrounding the base. Briefing newsmen on the level of preparedness towards the presidential visit, Air Officer Commanding Special Operations Command, Air Vice Marshal Christopher C. Okoye said the era of evacuating casualties of counter-terrorist operations to faraway distance for quality healthcare service has passed, with the 60-bed capacity reference hospital in Bauchi. The fully equipped ultra-modern hospital, according to the AOC, has facilities such as computerized tomography scan, cancer screening and dialysis machines, digital radiology, dental and eye clinic, accident and emergency, male, female, as well as children wards. Also part of the preparations for the presidential visit, the command has offered a free medical service to their host communities in Rerun to further strengthen the civil-military relationship.
This medical outreach does not stop here. The medical center is also for their use when the need arises.
AOC Okoye said the exercise will be a continuous process and use the occasion to encourage members of the villages around the Air Force base to report any suspicious movement to appropriate quota to ensure their safety and security.
This is the second time that this Air Force base came to do this free medical outreach for our community.
In Bauchi, Abbas Mekano, NTA News.
In the outgoing week, Abuja played host to contingents from all over the country who came for the Abuja Cultural Carnival 2016. This and more will be featured on our Week in Review segment with Uche Nwizu.
A warm welcome to the review of the week, loaded with inspiring and glamorous events, among which was activities that showcase the country's rich and diverse cultural heritage. We'll begin with the visit of Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. During their bilateral discussion, President Muhammadu Buhari made a case for African leaders to unite and work towards peace and stability in the continent. Thereafter, President Buhari left for Senegal for the 3rd Dakar Forum on Peace and Security, where he assured the international community that the end of Boko Haram in Nigeria was in sight.
We are using the leadership, both ethnic and military, to try and persuade the young men.
And back home, the president sworn in 6 newly appointed national commissioners of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The Nigerian judiciary also got 2 new Supreme Court justices who were sworn in by the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onoyen. And at an international conference aimed at improving the agro-allied industry in countries, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo explained Nigerians' efforts towards ensuring sustainable food production.
We have decided as part of our strategic implementation plan for this year to prioritize the processing of tomato paste so as to become self-sufficient in that particular product.
Still on transforming Africa's agriculture, Minister of Agriculture Audu Ogu in the week aligned with banking and development institutions on industrialization to reduce waste. On this glitz of Nigeria's culture, we conclude this segment of the news. Stay tuned for the rest of the bulletin. I am Uche Nwizu.
Thank you, Uche. And that was the news on NTA International. Thank you so much for being part of it. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.